So now we're gonna go ahead and move down to the Bears. You know,
Yeah, tell me what's going on, man.
oh, with the trade up of the draft, my award goes to the Chicago Bears, man. They moved up. They picked up Justin Fields at the 11th spot. You already know, man. It's everyone to the moon for me. Nagy got his guy. I'm excited. This guy's throwing to A-Rob and your boy Mooney. This kid possesses all the intangibles Chicago needs to turn it all the way around. 6'3", 227 pounds. Fields comes to Chicago following a 2-year stay in Columbus where he complied a 20-2 record as a starter while completing 396 of 579 passing attempts for 5,373 yards and 63 touchdowns. I mean, if that doesn't say something, bro, I don't know what else is. Here in Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year honors after both of his seasons as a Buckeye, leading Ohio State to 2 Big Ten championships and 2 college football playoff appearances. Had one of the greatest statistical seasons in the history of Ohio State football as the first starter in 2019 when he completed 67.2% of his passes for 3,273 yards while accounting for 51 touchdowns, 41 passing, and 10 rushing. So this guy has the intangibles to do both. And he's a big boy. He became the first quarterback in Big Ten history with 40 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns in the same season. His 41 and 3 touchdown to interception ratio was the best in the country. Why is this guy not being talked about, guys? He had a passer efficiency rating of 181.43, which was the third best nationally. Most valuable player of the Big Ten championship game after throwing for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 34-21 come-from-behind win over number 8 Wisconsin. 1 week prior, he threw for 302 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 56-27 win at number 10 Michigan. He had several impressive national rankings, finished third in touchdown passes with 41, total touchdowns with 51, had a passer efficiency rating of 181.43 and a number 11 completion percentage of .672 in 6 games against teams ranked in the final college football playoff poll, accounted for 17 touchdowns and averaged 280 yards per game of total offense. This kid has a cannon. He's big and he can run. Like, this is why we had this discussion about who actually has more upside, and I didn't necessarily believe that T-Law had the best upside because, bro, this kid, he's being knocked because he has epilepsy, bro. He takes medication for that. That's why he dropped down so much. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there could be other things, but that's why he dropped down because he has epilepsy. This guy has had his epilepsy out of control. It didn't affect his college career. So why is it affecting his NFL, where he ranks? Why is it affecting his ranking? I don't get some of this crap. This shit pisses. This kid, he could very well end up being the best quarterback in this class. And if you want to quote me and make it a hot take, make it a hot take. Like you said before, I'm about to go grab this guy's jersey, how much I love this kid. In the second round, with the 39th pick, they pick up Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle, Oklahoma State, 6'3", 227-pounder, 2020 first team All Big 12 selection and 2019 recipient of the Thurman Thomas Award, given out to the team's most outstanding offensive player. Excuse me. He had 35 career starts for the Cowboys, helping pave the way for All-American Mason Rudolph, James Washington, Tylant Wallace, Chubba Hubbard, who led the nation in rushing in 2019 with 2,094 yards. That's a big statement, fellas. Pay attention, you IDP folks. He also allowed 2 sacks in 35 career starts, according to Pro Football Focus. Last season, Jenkins started at the season at left tackle, but injuries along the offensive line forced him to the right side, where he started the next 6 games. So you got a left tackle and right tackle type of guy here. You can put him wherever. You can plug him in on whatever side. That, for me, is a big win. Versatility is the name of the game, folks, especially in that position. All the way to the 5th round now. We go to Larry Barham, OT, Missouri, another 6'5", 332-pounder. Barham started in 19 out of 20 games his final 2 seasons as a Tiger. 2020 All-SEC second-team selection. He started all 8 games in which he played 2020 at right tackle, helping the Tigers rush for 135.2 yards per game and 21 touchdowns in 2020. Barham also had the lowest QB percentage, 0% last season among FBS offensive tackles, according to Pro Football Focus. In the 6th, they went with the 217th player picked, Khalil Herbert, running back, Virginia Tech. Bears rookie running back Khalil Herbert played 4 seasons at Kansas. but the sixth round pick didn't blossom into an NFL prospect until he transferred to Virginia Tech the last year as a graduate student. After rushing for more than 663 yards and 5 touchdowns in any one season at Kansas, Herbert ranked fifth in the nation with 1,183 yards and 14 touchdowns at Virginia Tech in 2020. He averaged 7.6 yards a carry with the Hokies, in a huge increase from his 5.4 average with the Jayhawks. I'd say the transfer was a great idea. This adds depth to a backfield that could use some extra pop in the middle towards of the ending of the season. So if something happens to Tariq Cohen or something happens to Montgomery, this guy might get a chance. He's not even getting drafted in some instances in some leagues. You know what I mean? He might be there. So you might want to take a flyer on him. With their final pick, they went Daz Newsome, wide receiver out of North Carolina. He appeared in 43 games in over 4 seasons with the Tar Heels, catching 188 passes for 2,435 yards and 18 touchdowns. Not bad. The 5'11", 190-pounder had a breakout junior year in 2019, establishing career highs in all receiving categories with 72 receptions, 1,018 yards. Last season's Newsome followed with 54 catches and 684 yards and 6 touchdowns. He also returned punts the past 3 years at North Carolina, averaging 11.1 yards with 1 touchdown on 48 returns. The Bears will definitely be a team to watch this year. Mark my words. Nagy got his guy. Allen Robinson got the best quarterback he's ever played with, in my opinion. I just can't wait to see this, Brandon. I really can't.
And I'm excited, right? I really am excited for the Bears. I have a couple of things. I have a fear of Andy Dalton. I have a fear of this guy Nagy being an idiot and just freaking starting Andy Dalton for I don't know how many games.
I don't
He's
think
already.
he's. I don't think he has a leash. I think he's on a short leash. I don't think he has the leash to do that, bro. I
And
think this is.
I hope so, right? Because he's already come out. Nagy's already come out and keep saying that this guy's a starter. He's the guy. That's why we signed him. And it's either two things: either Fields is not ready for the job, which isn't good, or Fields can take the job, but they don't let Andy Dalton give it up, which really worries me. I think Nagy's a bit of a clown, to be honest with you, bro. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's going to go there. But I think if Fields starts and Fields plays, the wheels are up for this team. For me, though, I'm not a fan of Montgomery. I think he's slow, and I just don't see any if factor with this guy. He looks like an old 24-year-old to me, and I'm not drafting him anywhere, bro. I'd rather take Sermon a whole round later or Javante a whole round before.
Or
And
Corn.
just, just not a Montgomery guy, bro. How about you? What are your thoughts on him at all?
No, I'm okay with him. I'm not on the I'm not on the shitter with him. But Cohen is coming back this year. Cohen got injured last year. Let me tell you, for the ADP where Cohen's at right now, he's a steal. If he comes back anywhere near how he left, he's gonna be a great target on third down for Fields, man. Like he's like almost a running back wide receiver. He's that fast. He's really good. So that's gonna take away from Montgomery for sure. And if Montgomery goes down, and like I said, Herbert comes in and he starts doing good, what do you think's gonna happen, bro? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I don't put it past you, man. I wouldn't disagree with you. Like if that would have happened, I'm just not as down on him as you are. But then again, time will have to tell. So
yeah.
what teams are you doing, buddy? Where we going now?
All right. Well, before I jump in there, just real quick on the Bears. One other thing is Cole Kmet, man. Can't leave the Bears without talking about him, bro. You can buy him now, but I really think there's going to even be more of a dip. He's going to be even cheaper. I think week one's going to come around. Jimmy Graham's going to catch a couple touchdowns. Everyone's going to think Cole Kmet is not going to play, and that's when you strike because there is going to be a Cole Kmet breakout. I don't know if it's going to be, it's probably going to be next year. It could be the second half of this year at the earliest, but people, they didn't cut Jimmy Graham like everybody thought they were. So people are already a little down. Strike while the iron's hot and grab Cole Kmet because he's going to be a beast in my eyes.
No, I think that kid's really good. And Graham's there. Graham's already old, man. I
Yep.
wouldn't, for all you guys listening out there, that for me is just that. And let's just say Graham starts. Graham has a injury prone history, and they both played on the field last year. So I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I really like Kokomet. And where he's ADP right now, like let me tell you something, guys. If you're like, I had that happen to me in one of my drafts today. I have a formal way of draft where I like drafting tight ends at a certain spot, and I didn't get to do that, and I kind of got down on myself. But then I start scrolling down, and I see his name, and I see a couple other names. It's not that bad. Just don't panic, like we said, on any draft. If a guy gets picked up, we all have our favorite guys. When they get picked up, we feel a certain type of way. I'm like that too. But there's value with Komet. There's super value there, and I'm glad that you brought him up because that's a super sleeper for me. I think that he has breakout written all over him this year. I don't even think that we have to wait that long.
Well, then, if that's the case, go out and buy him now. Everybody buy him now before the breakout, because that's the name of the game. Buy him before they break out. So we're getting into it, bro. We got two more teams. I'm gonna start off with the Vikings, bro, and I'm gonna start off with a hot take. And
Okay.
my take is go out and sell Dalvin Cook. Go sell Dalvin Cook.
Ooh.
And now, don't get me wrong. I'm saying to sell him because he is a good player, right? I'm not. And the reason you want to sell, you're like, oh, Brandon. Well, I mean, B was the point. We want to get good players, yeah, you want to get good players. You win leagues with good players, but Dalvin Cook is never going to be more valuable than he is right now. Okay,
Yeah.
he's gonna be 26 before the season starts this year. All right, which means by next year 27. And once people see that age, the value starts to disappear fast. Okay, he can still maybe produce. I mean, you start hitting 26, 27, 28. That's usually when they're done. So you're talking 3 years. Now, if you're talking startups, he's going above players like Gibson, Akers, or Swift, who we're very high on. So you go with Cook, you trade him to the Gibson owner and get some Gibson plus. You get Akers plus. You get Swift plus. So you get players that are set to be hopefully the next Dalvin Cook. You get them 3 years younger, and you're getting something on top of that. And that's how you keep your dynasty team going, right? Now, if you're a hardcore contender and you can't get a good deal, I'm not saying just trade them just to trade them, but like in a league I was in, right? I had Kamara and I traded him to get JT, right? You're in that league with me. That would be considered somewhat of a downgrade. Kamara's a good player. He's a top. If you're looking at startups, he's super high up there. But I downgraded in quotation marks to JT, and I just gained back like 5 more years, 4 more years of production. And that's how you do it. You have to keep the wheel spinning, and you can't be afraid to be too early on a player, because I'd rather be too early than too late. Think about what you feel like when you had David Johnson, or when you had Todd Gurley, or when you had Le'Veon Bell. All these players who used to be Dalvin Cook at some point, and all of a sudden they weren't. And everyone would have been telling you, trade Gurley for X player plus. And you're like, oh, you're crazy. I'm going to win championships with Gurley. And then the next day, Gurley's done. Same thing with David Johnson. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. Don't be scared to trade these superstars as long as you're getting quality value back, because that's how you keep your dynasty running. Remember, dynasty means long term. So that's enough of my rant there, bro.
It's let me tell you, that's a great breakdown. Like, if you're not contending, you're rebuilding, that's a perfect guy to trade. There's nothing else to say about that. He's a great player, but the name of the game is value, guys. It's always been value. It's always going to be value. And if you can get on Akers and a Swift plus a book and a player or something of that sort, and you're not contending, do it now. If you're contending, you hold on to your guns. I personally love Dalvin Cook. He's, for me, I have him on a lot of teams. I'm not trying to trade him, but at the end of the day, where I'm not trying to trade him, I'm contending. So I totally agree with Brandon on this. If you can get rid of him, and for a haul, not for nothing, like Brandon said, for a haul, do it now, because his upside is reaching his pinnacle already if it hasn't reached it yet. So
It's
go
only
ahead
gonna
and do that.
He's only going to go down, bro. He's
Yeah.
only going to go down. And next year, you won't be able to trade Cook for Akers, because Cook will be 1 year older. Akers will hopefully have blown up this year. And next thing you know, Akers is going to be more valuable than Cook. So I mean,
No,
that's how it rolls, right? That's the name of the game. So be prepared. Moving on. Justin Jefferson, he was a revelation last year. There's not really much else needs to be said about him. Except I think people need to calm down a little bit, bro. They're putting him over A.J. Brown. They're putting him over Tyreek. And I just don't see that. But
I don't,
Dynasty wide receiver 1 or Dynasty wide receiver 4, it doesn't matter. He's elite and he's young. But again, value. If I can trade Jefferson for Metcalf plus something, I think I would do that because you're getting a player of Metcalf who could be the wide receiver one just as easy as Jefferson could, but you're getting something else on top of that. So those are the type of moves that I would make. Moving on, I think the end is near for Thielen, bro. I think the cliff could happen fast, and it could happen as fast as this year. So to me, he's not even a win now piece for me. I'm not
Not at
drafting
all.
startups. Stay away, buyer beware.
Staying away. Staying away.
Stay
All the
away, bro.
way. Stay
Uh,
away. I think he's already banged up. Remember, he wasn't really a highly recruited wide receiver, and he's banged up already. Like I can tell he's wearing down, and that's not something that I want on my team.
no, he was. I mean, he didn't even have 1,000 yards last year.
Mm-mm.
What he had was 14 touchdowns. I mean, he's not gonna score 14 touchdowns again.
No,
So
but
that's
call him what he is. He was a great wide receiver, and I got him in free agency in a bunch of leagues before anybody knew who he was, and he did great for me. But I think that like I said, he's on his way down, and I would stay away from him.
yeah. Stay away, bro. Tight end, Irv Smith, he has all the tools. But let's be honest, he's on a run first team, and he's probably the third and maybe the fourth option. And to be honest, that scares me, Brian. For that, you just wait 2 rounds and you grab Adam Troutman, who I think is going to have more targets and on a better offense as far as for tight ends is concerned. So
I got a hot take for you.
go.
I think Conklin outproduces Smith.
It's definitely possible, bro. I mean,
The
it's,
fact that Conklin can block, and the coach of the Vikings already said that he's not gonna, the Herb Smith's not gonna get a bigger role than what he had last year. It tells me everything that I need to know about
yeah.
Conklin.
I mean,
Go.
to be honest, they're probably both going to eat into each other, and they're both going to be useless. Like, I mean, that's
That
how.
that that could, you know what? That's a great point that you say that, because that's sometimes, we're all talking about upside here when there's two types of players, and that could very obviously happen. They could beat into each other's time, but I don't think so. I think that Irv Smith's blocking woes, and the fact that Conklin's more of a player blocking, and he can catch, and he showed it last year. He went over double digits in the last 3 games of the season with Irv Smith there. That's a big thing for me. And where his ADP is at, I'm picking this guy up. This guy's a late round sleeper for me in all formats right now. Nobody even talks about this guy, and this guy literally outscored Irv Smith the last 3 games of the season. If I might be mistaken, maybe Irv Smith might not have played in one of those games or a few of those games, but the fact still remains that he's capable of getting you double-digit points.
Yeah,
So
we're talking late round, bro. So it's not hurting you to grab him, or you're talking free agent. He's out there on the free agent wire. So if you have deeper leagues, you have a lot of roster spots. Grab the guy, see what happens.
yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely, absolutely.
Uh,
And another sleeper for me is the quarterback that they picked up, Kellen Mond.
yeah.
I mean, Cousins is like approaching his exit. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. By any chance he gets injured or anything, I think they're going to give this kid a chance. What's going to happen? I don't know. He's there. If they give him a season, you got a quarterback. That guy's going in the fourth round, fifth round sometimes, depending. Maybe even sometimes when people sometimes people value him a little bit more. He's going at the end of third rounds. This is somebody that is being highly talked about filling in for Cousins once he's out of there. So you might
Yeah.
want to look at that.
No, definitely. He's a good super flex guy to grab. And my sleeper on this team is Amir Smith Marset. He's
Ooh,
a fifth round pick out of Iowa. Horrible QB play derailed him. I mean, he's playing in Iowa, bro. Horrible QB play derailed him. But he had a 32.8 college dominator, 6'1", 181 pounds. And we just said it, right? Thielen is approaching or is already over the age cliff. There's no other wide receiver of consequence on this team. What are we talking? BB Johnson or some other guy there? I mean, come
yeah.
on. I
There's
mean,
that.
the wide receiver 3 job is already there for him for the taking. And as early as next year, if he plays good this year, he could be the wide receiver 2 playing next to Jefferson if Thielen falls off, if he plays well. So again, it's a lot of ifs, but that's what sleepers are. Sleepers are if this happens, then he can be good. So again, fifth round pick, 6'1", 181 pounds. Thielen's getting old. There's no other wide receivers there. there is a probable possibility that this guy could be something special next year. So he's a guy I'm grabbing. I picked him up almost on every team at the end of the rounds. So
Yeah, me too. And I believe he plays on special teams, so that's another plus for him.
yep, there you go. You play special teams, you get to play in the NFL. So